Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome. Where's my water list? I forgot my water. Welcome to Bringers of the Light Sunday. I'm back. I have to cover my chair now if the dog gets in it. I'm back. I wanted to sit in the sun today, and I've got another interesting chapter from Flying Potion. So I know it's been a while since we talked about Flying Potion together, and I hope everyone had, if you celebrate the holidays, I hope you had a relaxing, fun, magical holiday, even if it was restful like mine. I did not feel good over Christmas. I had a lot of ascension symptoms. So did my son in a way. And then New Year's was just, I don't really ever stay up. Although there were a lot of fireworks around here. Because my son said they were popping them off like till 1 or 2 in the morning. And it is nice because I can view the whole city from the house. But I didn't stay up to watch them. But anyway, here we are, January, whatever it is. I think it's the 4th. And before we go any further, I want to wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadians, and a host of other TLC for the soul guides joining us here as we do Bringers of the Light Sundays, which typically the purpose here is to just talk about the energies of the week ahead. And it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. I think it's going to be quite interesting. At the end of the week, we have the 111 portal, January the 11th. I'm looking at the calendar over here. We have the January 11th portal, and that is also the time when we begin. And I'm going to let the guides kind of guide what they want me to talk about today, because I have a lot of things I could talk about, but I just want to make the most of our time together, everybody. If you're new, there are quite a few new people on YouTube. If you're new to the podcast, I don't always see people joining the podcast. I don't get numbers on like how many people watch the pod. I know how many people watch it, but I don't know like who's on what platform and how many people follow it there and yada, yada, yada. I only know about Spotify, but it's all over the place. But anyway, regardless of whether you've been here 7 years, as long as this channel's been around, or whether you've been here one day or whatever, thank you for joining me here. I'm an author, artist, and master healer. I've got a lot to offer you. I've got a lot of offerings out there in the interwebs and in the astral realms. And you'll find this channel, maybe we're just a niche channel who has all sorts of interesting, magical things happening. And if you want to be a part of the nichiness, then you come and join us over here. I feel like I'd rather be a niche boutique hotel than a giant conglomerate hotel. Anyway, so we have this 111 portal. Oh, it's the start of a new 18-year cycle with the nodes of fate, the North Node and the South Node, the collective North Node and South Node of the astrology that would kind of apply to everybody, not just your own natal one, but it is starting again, starting a new 18-year cycle in Pisces and Virgo. It's supposed to be very fortuitous, they're saying, because the last 18-year cycle that we're coming out of right now, I don't know about you, but for me was, I guess, defined fortuitous. In the 3D world, it was not very good for me at all. In the spirit world, the world of the soul, like for soul growth and all that, it was probably the most immense and profound and biggest area of soul growth that I'll have in this lifetime. So I have to kind of look back on that, I guess, with gratitude. I talked about that yesterday too. So if you're on Instagram, or if you feel like you're interested in being on Instagram, we're on Instagram. And I did go live there yesterday, and I did a January energy hangout. It was about 30 minutes long, live. And I'm not going to, I don't have enough cameras, or I didn't have, I guess, maybe the proper equipment to have gone live in 2 locations at one time. Otherwise, I would have put that over here as well. But anyway, we're here now. And some of the themes that came up for the January Energy Hangout, there was not the Bringers of the Light Earth Council said they did not have a January update for us. So they said, look back at December's update and try to keep working on that. So we'll look back at that. That is posted on my blog, on my website. Links to everything I talk about are always in the show notes. Yesterday too, I dropped some new merch. The Body Love collection that I said I was working on, I finished it. And, okay. Okay, well, there goes the tablet. I kind of need that. Oh, God. All right. The Body Love collection. I thought I would show you the little design that I made. It's got a little Body Love sigil that I hand drew somewhere else. I kind of went into more detail yesterday, but I like it. I think it's kind of simple, and it's on all of these cool things. The little pet, oh, I have to show that. The little pet bandana things. Oh my gosh. I mean, come on. Look at that. How it looks for that little guy. I thought that was one of the cutest ones, like the Body Love on the pet bandanas. It looks so cute. So there's that. It's on all sorts of cool stuff. Redbubble is infamous, I guess, for having like a ton of different t-shirt designs. So I did just want to show you guys what I put this on. This is for all of us. I can't away from the t-shirts. I did that cute dress, and I made a mini skirt, and the pillows, you know me, and the pillows, the bags, the cups, and that cute backpack, and the face mask, and the cotton tote, and then there's a giant scarf. I'm not fond of that scarf. I mean, the size is ginormous. I don't know how you would really wear that, but it is on the scarf if you want to try to take a look at that. And then there's the pin and the other cups. And so we've got 3 sigilware collection pieces out there now. We have the honorary, I'm a member of the Spectre and Book Club one. We've got the Wrapped in Love, Light and Light Love collection, which is, our moniker for what we always say at the beginning of every show. We've probably said it as long as we've been around here out there. And then this one, the description is, it all happened so fast. 1 minute Jenna was drinking her morning tea, and the next she was being transported again. She knew when the mist vamp, you guys know the mist vamp, showed up that magic was afoot, and so she closed her eyes and waited. The mist tiptoed over the threshold of her open door, enveloping her, and asked her to rise. Where to this time, she thought, as she recalled the last time she had succumbed to the magic. There were no words as usual, only a beckoning to follow. And so Jenna put down her blueberry biscuit, slipped on her fairy boots, and made her way outside. This is an excerpt from my book, The Fairies of Lemonlock. And then I have Make Your Day Even More Magical by slipping on your Body Love gear and getting back out there, bringer of the light. That's you, that's me. That's also our moniker here on the show for being a light worker, a light warrior, being in divine service, a witch, or whatever words you want to put to yourself. I just categorize all of us under bringers of the light. I'm also an author. I've authored and published over 15 books. All of my ebooks are free to read. All the links to all that is out there, but you can search for Tammy Lynn Chambers everywhere. Google Books, Apple Books, Barnes and Nobles. You can go to my website, which is out. I mean, if you just put in my name, or if you put in TLC for the Soul, you're gonna, and a Google search, all my stuff's gonna come up. I also have a bunch of card decks that are all on the Game Crafter. And I went back and forth between the Game Crafter and that other one I was talking about, Make Plain Cards. And I'm just going to leave them where they're at right now. But they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just a little bit of like persnicketyness on my part of perfectionism I have about how I want, I guess, like the next generation of my cards and my print books. I have a very specific vision for how I want them to be. And until I can get there to that vision, like until I can get that vision into the 3D, then I'm not going to be touching things so much and moving things and rejiggering things right now. But the cards are fine. We use them all the time. So if you're interested in any of the card decks, Happy Cloud is probably the longest running one. A cute little deck. I probably should grab it. But, and use the channel as you would anything, as you would an oracle. And I know a lot of you do that. I can see in the analytics, a lot of you have been doing that. If you need a message and I'm not right there in your inbox with a new show, set the intention for what you want. We have, YouTube told me yesterday, I have 900 uploads now, many of them timeless, tons of playlists out there. Set the intention for what you want. Go to the homepage of my site or go to the videos listing. Close your eyes, scroll your finger, and put your finger down where your intuition tells you, and that's the show you need, or the messages that you most need in that now are incorporated in that show. So there's that. Oh, what else do I have? Oh yeah. I'm trying to go to Flying Potion. And personal readings are open again. The 2025 year ahead readings that I would do for you are out there, all on my Ko-fi page. Links to that are in the show notes. If you're interested in a personal reading, you can find out all the details when you go take a look at my Ko-fi page. Everything's listed there. And my website, actually the services page on my website, has a lot more details about how I work, what guides I work with, which is pretty much all of, many guides. And we're doing more than just a card reading. We're looking at your wealth areas, your health areas, your relationships, your karmic debt. We're looking at a lot of things in addition to just doing a reading about what 2025 or whatever year I just said. I think I might have actually said for 2024, but whatever 2025 is going to be like for you. I'm a master healer. I've been doing this for a really long time. And so there's a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge and a lot of learning behind what I have to share with you. We are on Patreon. Patreon members get 20% off of all personal readings. And we have been working here on Bringers of the Light Sundays on a book called Flying Potion. All of my books are channeled via automatic writing. I don't plan books. I don't make book outlines or whatever. And so we've been working on this together, and every week we channel in a new chapter. And the intention, as well as being you can just listen to this as a fun story, or you can, take your work a little deeper, bring in your guides and your higher self and your intuition and say, what metaphors are in this chapter? Like, use it as a we use the books as healing tools and divination tools. I've recorded tons of my books, tons of them, I only have 50, but I've recorded many of my books as audiobooks that are available on YouTube and on the podcast or in playlists. So you can listen to them as fun stories, which they are, or some of them I've done as healing workshop sessions, and they'll be like the audiobook as well as like commentary and healing and stuff in the playlist. All right. When we last left Flying Potion, we've been working with Rockaway Point and Tessa Locke, which is typically where a lot of the Bringers of the Light book series are set, as well as other places. I think they're going to get to travel a little bit more this in 2025, Jakar and Abigail. And I have not dropped the cliffhanger about did Jakar choose this new job, this upgrade that High Core has offered him. High Core offered Jakar a very upgraded job position, that he could live wherever he wanted, and he could do this and that, and have all this, have all this clout and stuff. He's like a top agent in the Bringers of the Light headquarters. And I have not dropped that. I'm not gonna tell you guys if he does or not, because we're still here. The book then takes a turn, and Abigail and Dakar celebrating something, and then someone's neighbor, Abigail or Dakar's neighbor, came out and talked about their mother being gone missing. And the book, which as sometimes happens in some of my books, especially my more novel length books, sometimes take these interesting turns into more like dreamscapes. And so the book took a turn into like a dreamscape where the neighbor's mom goes missing. Mrs. O'Malley, Sandra O'Malley, goes missing, and we go into this whole weird, metaphorically rich chapter about the key opening up another dimension. And so I want to just give a little bit of background about that, because that's what the last time we met, which I think may have been several weeks ago, so I'm sure everybody's forgotten what happened there. Just bring us up to speed, because we close that off a little bit here. And for this week ahead. And I feel like this is another richly metaphorical chapter that has to do with this new 111 portal and this new gate opening up. So Sandra O'Malley was called the key to Madrigal, or the key to Madrigal was firmly planted in her heart space. And she went back in time. She was at her house, and as soon as she was gone, she went back in time to a time where she knew someone named Linnaeus McGee. Now, being that all my books are channeled, Spirit will work in these spirit friends into wherever they need to work them into. And I found it interesting that Linnaeus McGee showed up in this book, because he's not part of the Bringers of the Light series. He's part of a book that I'm writing called Powerball. And which is a different land altogether. It has nothing to do with Rockaway Point and Tussalok. It's called he's part of the Badlands and the lands of Katana and the Castle Dragonshire, and it's a whole other realm. But he comes into this one, and he's doing all sorts of weird stuff. Like he's trying to find the key to Madrigal. And he knows it's somewhere in this castle. He's been going all over the lands, doing inane things, trying to get the key to Madrigal, which is the key in someone's heart to reveal itself. And 22 years he's been on this quest. He finds the Castle McIntyre, home of Baron and Baroness McIntyre of the Dragon Clan of the Acropolis. And he has to stick around and hang out and act all silly and do all sorts of stuff, because he's hoping that in doing so, somewhere along the way, as part of the Castle McIntyre, somebody there is going to reveal themselves to be this special key that he's been looking for 22 years. So we drop in then with chapter 21. And so I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to pull out what I think and what Spirit wants me to say are the metaphors for the week ahead as they pertain to you and your journey. What these might mean for our TLC for the Soul Collective, as well as what they might mean to you as you listen with your master senses, as you would anything else. If you were watching a card reading or doing your own card pulls, maybe you'll hear something. Sometimes I might say something that Spirit has control of my lips, so to speak, and I might say something and I'll be like, that's odd. Why did I say that? And maybe it's just meant for one person, okay? So, and I don't necessarily know who all exactly it's meant for, but I know there's quite a few out there of you listening, and I know that other beings listen to this as well through the astral realms. This is a transmission not just for human beings on YouTube and a podcast, but other beings are listening to this transmission as I'm giving it. And so maybe it's a message for one of them as well. You don't know. You don't know. All right, so this is chapter 21. The key reveals itself. Sandra, this is the Sandra that went missing, awoke on a bench in Loveland Park with nary a recollection of where she'd been or how she'd gotten herself far from home. She recalled making a pot of tea, and then there he was standing before her holding that darned key. She would recognize him anywhere. Linnaeus McGee had shown up lifetime after lifetime for Sandra. But this time she felt that the curse or magic or whatever it was might finally be lifted from her somehow, so that she would never have to go back to Katana ever again. A security guard for the park recognized the older woman sitting bewildered on the bench and approached her with care. "Miss, is everything okay?" The guard was oblivious to all the PC monikers one used nowadays to address people. I'm not sure how I got here," Sandra said, still bewitched by the flying potion dust that Linnaeus had blown in her face as she turned to face him in the kitchen. She did recall him saying that this time they would figure it out together. The two of them would fly back in time and they would break the Mark of Katana curse and finally be free. Finally free, Sandra wondered if it was really true. Could they finally beat it, the curse this time? Could they finally beat the curse this time? My daughter, Sandra said, pushing her bangs aside. She'll be wondering where I am. The security guard, Brett Haverstrom, is that a real person? That Haverstrom sounds very familiar. Oh my gosh, I didn't look that up. I never looked that up before I do that. He took out his walkie and spoke into it. "Haverstrom here. I need a car out to Loveland Park. Yeah. We have a person who needs to get home." He put the walkie back in the holder and looked with care at Sandra. "Someone's coming to take you home," he said, hoping that someone would do the same if they found his mom outside and alone like this. "Thank you," Sandra said, lifting her gaze to the sky, the effects of the flying potion dissipating. She heard a couple laughing as they walked nearby. The man bent to kiss the woman on the forehead and then swooped her up in his arms as they both laughed. "I love this life," the woman said as she twirled around, holding the man around the neck. And Sandra wondered if now that they had seemingly lifted the curse of Katana, if she could finally get on with loving her life again. "Well, that remains to be seen," old Linnaeus McGee said, walking up to her and Brett as they waited for the car. "Aren't we done with all this now?" Sandra said, wincing at the sight of him and all the treachery he'd put her through. Linnaeus sat down beside Sandra while acknowledging Brett but not really caring that he was there. "Miss, do you know this person?" Brett said, eyeing Linnaeus McGee, who was now dressed as a fine and dapper older man in his green velveteen suit, an eye-catching but completely ridiculous Robin Hood felted hat with the long turkey feather in the brim. "Yes," Sandra said, allowing Linnaeus to take her hand. "He's perfectly safe now." And like that, the curse was broken. Oh. And then I channeled in the title of the next chapter, which, okay, all my 222 fans, it's chapter 22, and it's called Linnaeus McGee and Sandra Make a Life Together. Oh, gosh. I don't know. We've had many of these foreshadowings before. And this book, I would have to say, because sometimes I don't truly see the full picture of what the books are all about until they're done. And I would say that this book has the most so far that of a lot of my books of new people coming together, new relationships starting, new people coming in. Like there's a lot of people in this book that I'm like, are brand new spirit friends. I don't like to call them characters because it makes them seem like they're fake. And they are real out there somewhere. But new spirit friends, books overlapping, new places showing up. Loveland Park, which has been part of my Oracle decks, is now an actual location in Rockaway Point. But what in the world is happening with this chapter? And the key reveals itself. What does this mean for our TLC for the Soul collection? TLC for the Soul collection, collective. This curse. this curse being lifted. I did draw a card this morning. I was talking about the some curse of Ulster. I don't have it. Do I need it? I don't really need it. But it was about in ancient times, something that happened between two people, and this king or whatever was like really mean to this person and made her do all this stuff. And she put a curse on him and said, you've done all these things to hurt me. I'm curse you forever. Who knows what people say, right? Forever and ever. And then realized, I guess, as she ascended or in an ascended state, like, oh, probably not a good thing. And forgave the king for what he did to her, and in doing so lifted the curse, which didn't just lift it from him, right? The forgiveness lift the curse from her as well, because the unforgiving, the resentment and all these things building up even in one lifetime harms the person mentally, physically, emotionally. It has deep underlying effects, more so than just I refuse to forgive somebody. It starts to wear on the physical body over time. And it does wear on the chakras, and it does cause weakness in the energy body, which can result in many things: bad karma, loss of prosperity. It's all because of where the unforgiveness sits in the chakra system. It sits like a ball of anger and resentment, like in the solar plexus. And when it first happens, it sits in the front, but over time, the ball of anger, I'm getting so many chills. Chills is my confirmation from spirit if you're new here, but over time, the ball of energy, the curse, the unforgiveness, the anger, the resentment moves to the back solar plexus. So there's different parts. There's a front and back solar plexus. And over time, it sits in the back solar plexus, kind of like mid-back area. And if it doesn't get dealt with, because it still be dealt with there, it starts to move its way down through the spine, and it will sit and get lodged in the root chakra. And then the root chakra is where you manifest. That's where you bring things into physical 3D form. I'm saying the hi to the dog. So if it gets really rooted into the root chakra, then it can cause, nary a recollection of why you can't manifest certain things or why things aren't working out the way you want them to be. So there's a lot of forgiveness exercises, and maybe we do. I always say maybe we need to do a healing video, and then I never do one. Maybe what I need to do is get a healing series that's not just one-offs, but like we could have a playlist, and I could do like healing for this, healing for that, because I have so many other ideas. I don't want to sit here and do a lot. I am a master healer. I'm a Reiki master teacher, as well as many other things, but I don't know about doing a lot of healing videos. It kind of like wears on me a little bit. So we'll see. Like this is not like a Reiki channel or whatever. We go much deeper than that, and I feel like I work the healing in to the light language and stuff. So maybe we'll do it that way. I don't know. There's only one of me, right? And there's always so many show ideas. But, maybe that's something for one of you too. Like, maybe what we're saying here sparks an interest in you to like, man, I want to do healing, or I want to be a Reiki master. And some show I did actually attune people to do their own self Reiki healing. So I don't even remember which one that is now. What's going on? All right, what else is going on in this chapter? Curses being lifted. So I think forgiveness work, it sounds like it's really being called for here. I pulled that card this morning, and I was like, what other, I've been doing forgiveness work. We do forgiveness work for a long time, and healing and all that. I've been on this spiritual path and on this journey since, I don't even know how long. So I know many of you are longer than me, but like 2012, 2013, actively aware that that's what I was on, some spiritual path. I don't know where I was going with that. All right. I do find it interesting that a security guard comes up to the older woman. So I feel like Archangel Michael is involved here as well. Whenever I see the police or security guards in IRL, in real life, I think of Archangel Michael. And so this could be a lot about soul mission and soul purpose, again, opening up for some of you, wanting to take your work deeper, wanting to do more healing work, wanting to be of divine service. It is a brand new year. It's still time to get those goals and, start thinking about what you want. I did also find it kind of cool that, this book started out with Flying Potion with Mindy Smatherton writing a book called Flying Potion, which Dakar was reading at the Black Tongue Inn. And now we've got Linneas McGee using Flying Potion dust to bewitch and bewilder this Sandra, what? Hold on. Oh, O'Malley. I'm getting their names mixed up. The reference to like the security guard Brett, that Haversham name sounds really familiar. I'm going to look this up. He said, hoping he would do the same if they found his mom outside and alone like this. So maybe some of you have older parents that need caring for, or that you are looking after, or that you are just wishing good things for. Maybe it's been a long journey and some of these people have just been involved along the way. And then this random couple shows up. The man bent to kiss the woman on the forehead and swooped her up in his arms as they both laughed. I love this life, the woman said as she twirled around, holding the man around the neck. There's a little bug crawling on. There's a fly. And Sandra wondered if now they had seemingly lifted the curse of Katana, if she could finally get on with loving her life again. And the fact that Linneas shows up in this life and says, well, that remains to be seen. And then the fact that Sandra allows Linneas to take her hand, saying he's perfectly safe now. And like that, the curse was broken. And I feel like maybe that is, between the two of them, an act of forgiveness. That maybe all along Sandra / she had another name in another lifetime, was always like avoiding him, or thinking that he was out to get her, thinking that he was here to hurt her, when I think maybe, I don't know what he wants. Maybe the key to Katana, or the key or whatever, was the key to her heart, and she just didn't want to give it to him through all these lifetimes. And the fact that she's allowing him to sit beside her and take her hand like that, the curse was broken. I find that very magical. And then that suddenly, all of a sudden, the next chapter is that they make a life together. It's like, wow, that was fast. And he's very interesting. Linneas McGee has always been he's an old fae, but he's older than that. He's older than just a fae. He has very deep connections to Merlin. And some might say he might even be Merlin himself, in various guises, walking the planet. He has deep ties to the book Powerball and to the Powerball itself, which is an instrument that was created for something. We still don't know, because that has not revealed itself in the book Powerball yet. And I do find it interesting that he's wearing a Robin Hood hat. It specifically caught my eye. When the channeling was coming through, he says he was dressed in a green velveteen suit, which almost made him seem like, isn't there a book? Hold on, let me go over here. Isn't there a book or a thing? Hold on. The Velveteen Rabbit. Yeah, that's a book by Marjorie Williams. It's a children's picture book about a toy rabbit. Oh God, you guys, I love these synchronicities. The Velveteen Rabbit, first published in 1922, get the numbers there, 22, is a children's picture book about a toy rabbit who longs to become real through a child's love. The story follows the rabbit's journey as he learns about friendship, love, and the true meaning of being real. The rabbit is initially snubbed by the boy he was given to and the other toys in the nursery. Wow. Because as I was channeling this, I was getting, I don't know the book, The Velveteen Rabbit. I've heard the title, but I don't know anything about what it was about until right now when I looked it up. But I feel like Linnaeus McGee, yeah, like he's this just going through time. And then the Robin Hood's hat, like he's just this tattered teddy bear or whatever, the tattered Jingo. That was like, that's what I was thinking. When I sat here, this little guy, he's supposed to be a little dinosaur, a little, dragon. I was looking at him as I was sitting here and choosing to sit here. And I was like, we've had him. I bought him for my son when my son was really, 5 or 6 years old. I mean, he needs to be re-stuffed. Look at his legs. And then to make his head stand up, I had to tie this really tight thing. But he's like this precious little toy. This is like Linnaeus McGee. He's like this tattered little, rabbit or teddy bear going through time, looking for his own redemption. I guess looking for his own redemption because it's like he'd been cursed somehow through the fact that Sandra didn't want to love him, didn't want to open her heart to him. And, oh my gosh. And then the Robin Hood hat. Doesn't Robin Hood like steal from the rich and give to the poor? I don't know what that reference is all about. Maybe that means something to somebody here. Robin Hood, Maid Marian. That's a whole other, Bringers of the Light story, right? He had all this band of merry men. In my mom's old books, my mom has one of the original copies. I've got one of the original copies of that book downstairs. I think we've actually used it on the channel before in a card reading. We might have to get that out and do an intuitive flip through Robin Hood. Robin Hood felt a hat with the long turkey feather in the brim, which when I see turkey feathers, wild turkey feathers, they always signify joy to me. And the reason I say that is I have a little wild turkey. There are a couple that are around here that can always come to the house. And at first I thought it was a baby and a mom, but over time the littler one has never gotten any bigger. So I'm like, I guess, because I don't know how to tell, right? If they're husband and wife or kid and thing. But over time, the little ones have never gotten any bigger. So I'm like, I think they're actually mated, like a little couple, like a male and a female. But they're always together and they're so cute and they show up and they stand up all over. I've taken videos and posted them on Instagram. They stand up all over the deck and they come in and, they leave and they go off. And super cute. Well, like that. So joy. I think Linnaeus McGee finally finds his joy through Sandra's forgiveness. That's very beautiful. And I don't know what that means for you. I guess apply that in your life. It doesn't have to be like a soulmate. It doesn't have to be like a romantic partnership. I think it could be any soulmate relationship that you feel like you've spent many lifetimes trying to overcome things with a certain person. And it's like, who knew that all along the key to breaking the curse was simply to open your heart and forgive this person. And then somehow the angels, or whoever they are that help with forgiveness and curse removal, somehow it just all gets cleaned up in the astral realms and within you as well. Your chakras get cleared out. Maybe this is a form of angelic Reiki, because I like to do a lot of angelic Reiki where I just let the angels come in during our shows and just take care of whatever needs, just take care of extractions and I do a lot of shamanic stuff too, but I like the angels to just come in and do a lot of extractions on stuff that people are ready to release. And it's like, are you ready to release these things? And if so, do you want to break these curses? I worked with many years ago now, feels like a million years ago now, but it really was only 2019 or 2020, I don't know what year. I myself worked with something very similar to this, but it was kind of the opposite. It was like a spirit, it was not somebody in real life, showed up in this lifetime and started telling me, that they wanted to be a part of my life again, and that they were even willing to do a walk-in, do like a walk-in soul transfer thing to come be with me in this lifetime. And I felt like until they were part of my spirit guide team. They were actually part of the box of spirit guides until they revealed themselves to me in that way and said who they, kind of showed who they truly were. And I felt like they just kept making a lot of promises that they never would really truly keep. And when it was time for them to really step up and kind of do whatever they needed to do, they would always kind of balk. And then I was shown a couple of past lives with this soul, and it was like the same thing. It was just this endless loop of like, unkept promises. And then Spirit showed me that myself and this soul had made some sort of blood pact together in a past life where we were like, we'll never, ever, ever be apart. And I almost like didn't, I'm getting big chills. It's like I didn't know how to get rid of that because I was like, I don't want to keep going through this with this soul. No, I don't want them to show up in real life because I don't want to deal with this anymore. And ultimately, and I had another soul sister come in and help me with that, who was kind of seeing some of the same things I was seeing. So I was like, I'm not going crazy, right? This person's like, no, I see all these things that you're talking. I didn't tell them a lot. They intuited a lot of what was going on through reading the energy. And they're like, you've got to get rid of this blood pact. And so through working with the angels of healing and all of that, I told them, I'm like, remove this blood pact and remove this soul from my life. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. And the angels came in and took it all away. So I have a lot of experience with working with, like I said, niche. I don't know how niche it is in the psychic world. Like, I feel like I know some psychic friends who've dealt with all sorts of crazy stuff. But to the general public, or like, what is it? PC security guard, or he doesn't care about being PC. I've had to work with a lot of like weird situations to be where I'm at now. So when I say like personal readings are available, it's because like, man, I can help you with a lot of interesting stuff that you may not get from somebody just, flipping your cards for $50 or whatever. Some interesting stuff comes up and it's stuff you're not aware of. And because there was this blood pact in my history, in my soul's history, it was actually keeping me, it was actually a shield keeping me from somebody who I was really meant to be with in this lifetime. And until I cleared that blood pact, the opportunity to be with this person, this other soul, would not have presented itself. I'm still waiting for that person, but the opportunity would not have presented itself, and I would have had to wait until next lifetime. I remember Spirit telling me like, well, it's next lifetime or it's this lifetime, but you've got some work to do. So lots coming up here, lots to think about, lots that we've just shared. So I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to take a drink of water, and I'm going to see if there's anything else. I think Spirit wants me to pull one card for the week ahead to kind of sum this all up. So hold on. Let me take a pause. Yeah. And it's all like this Lover's card, which I've like, it's from the, whatever that deck is. Oops, I'm in low power mode. It's that Lover's card where it's like, we're entwined together forever, for better, for worse. And it's like, sometimes it's for worse. Okay, I don't want to be in low, why am I in low power mode? I've been playing a lot of music this morning. Okay, let me do this card before my battery apparently wants to run out. Brian Brad deck. Anything else we want to say to our bringers of the light? Oh, we got this yesterday. The Maiden. Okay, this is all about like Fool energy, fresh new energy, the Maiden, the Mother, the Crone. This is all about rebirth as a bright new version of yourself. It's all about magic and fresh energy coming in, which I really do feel like it's card number 14, which is a 5. I mean, I really do feel like Spirit keeps just popping out the card to me of like the fresh energy coming in. But the Maiden signifies new beginnings and growth. You couldn't ask for a more auspicious card than this if you are beginning something new. Spontaneity, joy, growth, acceleration, and promise for the future are signified here. We must also note that in the early stages of any process, there is vulnerability and a need for protection, shelter, and guidance. But there is also a magical impetus towards burgeoning growth. Trust the process, but take care of the details as well. Consider what is growing in your life. Make a list of your hopes, dreams, and plans. Look for the growth within you and think about how you can cherish and nurture that. Bless the growth you see around you. All right. So with that, my guides are saying they are complete. So I want to thank you for being back here with me on Bringers of the Light Sunday. I'm not sure exactly what's coming next, but I'm sure it's going to be something fun and magical. So thank you again. We will see you all again soon. Take care.
All my Bringers of the Light at TLC for the Soul will recognize our opening invocation to the show and podcast. This highly protective magical wear bears the Bringers of the Light sigil, which radiates love, magic, and healing, while also acting as an energy shield of protection for you. Wear with care because you just might feel like singing a song, dancing with joy, or running away with the fae. Wrapped in love light and light love sigil wear available at our TLC for the Soul Redbubble merch shop. Thank you for listening and take care. This episode was brought to you by Giuseppe Vertucci's Pasta in Your Face food truck. Pasta for the modern human. You can join this fun pasta movement and come visit Giuseppe's food truck at Tessa Locke's Farmers Market on Mondays and Fridays, and in Rockaway Point, right outside the Rockaway Point Lighthouse on Thursdays and Saturday afternoons. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.